Red Bull and Max Verstappen have been grabbing the headlines week in, week out, not only because they're winning every weekend, but also because Red Bull seems to be imploding. And the ongoing chaos could cause Red Bull to lose Verstappen. And this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many teams on the grid, but one in particular, Mercedes. Toto Wolff feels Mercedes could provide an alternative option for Max Verstappen, since the Dutch driver has made his intentions known to Red Bull. While Verstappen is under contract with Red Bull until the end of 2028, the three-time Formula One world champion has stated that if Helmut Marko left, he would most likely follow. The problem at Red Bull was triggered by the parent company's inquiry and potential removal of Christian Horner following claims of inappropriate behavior as team boss. With Red Bull GmbH investigating the source of media leaks, including an anonymous email providing supposed proof from the probe, the team's racing consultant Helmut Marko stated that he could not rule himself out of being suspended by the business. Marko then departed the paddock in Saudi Arabia, returning the next day escorted by Red Bull CEO Oliver Mintzlaff, and declaring that he is prepared to finish his present contract with the firm. Max Verstappen stated clearly that if Marko is not connected with Red Bull, his own continuing connection with the company is in danger. The unease within the ranks at Red Bull has sparked speculation and rumour that Mercedes may be able to capitalise on the uncertainty to pounce on Verstappen for the seat left vacant by Lewis Hamilton in 2025, especially if Verstappen's contract contains Marko-related clauses that allow him to cut and run. Toto Wolff, Mercedes team manager, has been seen talking with Max's father, Jos Verstappen, in the Bahrain paddock and has spoken out on the current controversy at Red Bull in an interview with Austria's OE24. When asked if he'd want to have Verstappen as one of his drivers, Wolff replied, "Every team would love to have Max because he is the strongest driver, which is logical. But a driver will always try to be in the strongest car. That's why we have to do our homework beforehand so that the car performs." So Mercedes could become a real alternative for Max. Another rumour about Red Bull is that renowned car designer Adrian Newey is particularly dissatisfied with the current scenario, and could be on the way to Ferrari, or even Mercedes if it's up to Wolff. "Anything is always possible in this crazy merry-go-round. I wouldn't rule anything out," Wolff went on to say. "But we have an excellent technical team with whom I feel comfortable and 100% correctly positioned, even if the lap times don't reflect that at the moment." Given Verstappen's allegiance to Marko and his participation with the team he competes for, would Wolff be amenable to the unusual position of having his compatriot join the ranks at Mercedes? "It's all about Max and his prospects," he went on to say. "I don't know enough about the dynamic between the two of them to be able to judge how important Marko really is for Max." Wolff further downplayed his chat with Verstappen Sr. in Bahrain, claiming that he was only congratulating Max's father and that he and the Dutchman have had a good relationship for years. But with a vacant seat in 2025 and a huge budget to spend following Hamilton's departure, are the stars aligning for Verstappen? "In every career, there are moments when you want to try something new or should try something new," remarked Wolff. "That's why I don't have any bad feelings about Lewis. The only thing that surprised me was the timing, because the season hadn't started yet. But as it turns out now, it could be a good fit. Unlike us, Ferrari and McLaren have finalised their contracts so early that they have more free seats in the coming years. If Verstappen abandons a title-contending Red Bull in 2025, it may only be a temporary setback given the upcoming regulatory changes in 2026, notably the power unit rules change, which would see Red Bull operate their own in-house power units for the first time. Given that 2026 is likely the time at which the present power rankings gets torn up, would it make sense for Verstappen to switch to Mercedes for next year and settle down before that season? There will actually be completely new regulations from 2026, especially in terms of the engine, Wolff said. That gives us the opportunity to hopefully do as well as we did in 2014. If you can be there early as a driver, that's obviously an advantage. And even though Horner was exonerated by the probe, the case is not done. Leaving Verstappen still open for the drivers' market, the lawsuit involves not just Horner but also Max Verstappen, Helmut Marko, and Adrian Newey. From the outside, we are treated to a lot of drama, but for a team like Red Bull, a situation like this is not great. Asked if Wolff is surprised that these stories are coming out, the Mercedes team boss responded, "No, because we live in a very transparent world. Not saying something only makes it more interesting. This leads to more questions, more stories, and more speculation." A big question has faded into the background. Why did a woman who was uncomfortable go to HR? Why hasn't anyone talked about this yet? In addition, there is an information strategy towards the media that seems a bit strange from the outside, Wolff continued about Red Bull. Wolff sees a rift between Camp Marko and Camp Horner. I think the Austrians are professional. In England, they try to keep everything small, but that is no longer possible these days, concludes the Austrian Mercedes team boss. However, Helmut Marko himself has been clear in recent days, stating that he and Max are still planning on a future with Red Bull. He joked last weekend that he and Max Verstappen are not going to Mercedes together, despite Toto Wolff's cheeky job offer to the two key Red Bull team members. Toto Wolff was quick to respond when rumours of Marko leaving started going around, telling Verstappen that he'd love to have him join Mercedes and jokingly offering Marko the mascot post left empty by the passing of non-executive director Niki Lauda. Unfortunately for Wolff, the prospect of Marko and Verstappen's exits has now been neutralised. When asked by De Telegraaf if Verstappen will complete his contract, which runs until the conclusion of the 2028 season, Marko said, "That's a long time. I was really thankful for how loyal Max was. I was impressed. We are not going to Mercedes together at the moment." As for the threat of suspension, the 80-year-old said, "We decided that these rumours of the leaks were spread and had no legal background. I will not be suspended. Our goal is to win the World Championship. For that, we will have to work hard." Verstappen, on the other hand, has called for unity and peace, expressing his desire to see Red Bull put an end to the drama and focus on the racing. "I always said that what is most important is that we work together as a team and that everyone keeps the peace, and that's what we, I think, all agree on within the team," he said. "So hopefully from now onwards that is also fully the case and everyone is trying to focus in the same direction. And I think the positive out of all this is that it didn't hurt our performances, so it's a very strong team. I think also mentally, you can see from not only the driver's side but also mechanics, engineers, everyone is there to do their job. And I think everyone, even when there is stuff going on or whatever, like they're just very focused on their job as they should be. Whether it's going to be a move to Mercedes or just staying at Red Bull, it's clear that we need to be ready for some significant Verstappen news, maybe as soon as the next few weeks, even if it is to shut down alternatives so they can focus on the season. This because Verstappen continues to give contradictory messages, saying that he is content where he is, while hinting that anything is possible. The thing is, I think no one would have ever realised or seen that Lewis would move to Ferrari, he said in Jeddah. And in my life, and that's not related to F1 or whatever, it's just general life. You never know what happens, or what comes to you, or whatever happens around you, or what might influence you. So you can never say 100% that's how it's going to be. And I approach my life like that. But I also don't think about it too much. I'm very relaxed. What do you think? Is Verstappen trying to force a move? And if that were to be the case, could it be a move to Mercedes? Do they perhaps have an answer to all the 2026 engine regulation questions? Answers that could result in another dominant period like we've seen with the Hamilton switch to Mercedes 10 years ago. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.